How do they figure that out? It's just baffling. Hi, welcome back to Rabbit Hole History, where each week for 6 weeks I talk about a historical topic that I'm interested in. And we have made it to Season 2. For the past 6 weeks I've been talking about ancient Greece, different aspects of their life and their culture, and kind of what made them so memorable. And for the next 6 weeks, I kind of have a focus and I kind of don't. Essentially, I want to study and learn about the prehistory of modern Europe, particularly areas like Britain and Ireland. I'm going to cover things like Stonehenge and Druids. It seems that the history is a little less compact in this area as opposed to a single culture like ancient Greece. So I want to explore these topics and themes of historical significance that are loosely linked together, and maybe we'll find some possible connections to it all. And so I'm calling Season 2 Ancient Europe. I have a really interesting, strange topic to talk about today and kind of jump into Season 2 with. So let's just get into it. Welcome to Rabbit Hole History. So you've read the title. This video is going to be about bog bodies. And if you don't know what that is, I'm going to start with a story. On May 8th, 1950, 2 peat cutters outside of Silkeborg, Denmark, were working and cutting peat, which I'll explain what that is later. They were cutting peat and peeled back a layer to discover a body. It was the corpse of a man that was so well preserved that they were worried that they had discovered a recent murder victim. They discovered him lying in a fetal position. He was wearing a hat, and there was noticeable stubble on his face. And upon examination, they even found the last meal that he had eaten, which consisted of porridge, fish, and seeds. But it turns out, with radiocarbon dating, they found out that this man was thousands of years old. He likely died between 405 and 380 BC. So how did this happen? How were we able to see his final meal? Someone who lived 2,000 years ago? Why was he there? What's a bog? Well, let's start there. What is a bog? Well, a bog is a wetland. It's basically like a swamp that just accumulates a lot of peat, which is dead plant materials. It all accumulates into this wet, soupy, goopy land. But it's mossy and swampy. And I'll touch on it a little later, but as you can probably assume, the environment that a bog creates is perfect for mummification or preserving what falls into it. So going back to the man that they found, he's actually been named the Tollund Man, and he was preserved so well because of the climate and environment of the bog in what is today Denmark. And you can see in photos of the Tollund Man, the detail is just outrageous. It almost looks like he's just been dipped in paint or something. So who was he and how did he end up here? There was a piece of fabric found around the Tollund Man's neck when he was discovered. This combined with the autopsy that they conducted on him, it's concluded that he died by hanging. But scholars have concluded that this isn't some kind of punishment for a crime, but rather a ritual sacrifice, an offering to appeal to the gods. The bog was a seemingly magical place, likely where you would find a site of a ritual or sacrifice. Because of the climate and environment of the bog, strange atmospheric phenomena would occur, most notably the will-o'-the-wisp, which is like a ghost light that people would see appearing in the bog at night, and they believed that they were fairies or spirits living and inhabiting the bog. So naturally there was a supernatural mystery to the bog, and it would make sense that people would use this as a place of sacrifice and ritual. And that's what's so kind of eerie about the Tollund Man. There's almost a peaceful look to his face, and he died in quite a violent way, yet he looks like he is accepting his fate and is going on to a greater purpose. He's serving his people and serving the gods and protecting his realm, I guess. I guess we'll never truly know why he was put there, why he was sacrificed. But whatever his duty was more than 2,000 years ago, he serves a very important purpose to historians and scholars and scientists alike today. He's one of the most well-preserved bog bodies among the hundreds and hundreds that have been found around the world. With modern technology and analysis, the Tollund Man allows us to learn a lot about what people were like back then. With such well-preserved remains, they're able to find out things like diet and health, even where they lived or may have traveled. In the case of the Tollund Man, scientists conducted isotope analysis, which is definitely a rabbit hole for another day, but basically can help determine environmental conditions for a certain time period. But after conducting this analysis on the Tollund Man, they found that he at least spent his last year of life in Denmark, and this is a quote, but that he may have moved at least 30 kilometers in his last 6 months. How do they figure that out? It's just baffling. Oh, and get this, because even the food in his stomach was preserved, based on the lack of fresh fruit or meat found in his system, they were able to even determine the time of year that he died, which was winter or early spring. So that's the story of the Tollund Man and a little rabbit hole dive into bog bodies. The most interesting part of the research for me was definitely the spirituality and possible reasons for the Tollund Man's death. You know, the possible ritual that he could have been a part of for the people to appease the gods of the bog or the fairies within. It's really interesting to theorize, and I hope as we go along here I discover more research on the subject. Maybe we'll find out a little bit more about the people themselves, more than what we already have discussed here and what scientists have already found. So that's where we'll pause the rabbit hole dive for this week. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm really excited to be getting back into season 2 and exploring a different part of the world, and with kind of a broader scope. I'm really interested in learning about all of these kind of Western European cultures, like ancient Britain, ancient Ireland, ancient Danish people, kind of everybody up in that general area. I don't know if there's a word for it. I haven't found one yet. If you know, let me know. Also, let me know if you enjoyed the video, if you found it interesting, if you'd like to learn more. And with that, thank you so much again for watching, making it this far, and we'll see you next week.